Benue, of course, Benue State is known as the food basket of Nigeria. It's blessed with a number of natural resources. And as far as capital importation is concerned, well, you need capital to carry out a whole number of projects. So we're looking at $5.6 billion that came into Nigeria in the first quarter of 2025, 67% gain there. Most of that was portfolio investment. The more critical FDI, only about 2.2% of that. Now, when we look at the states, as far as the top 5 states that brought in funds, Abuja was the leader at $3 billion, 54%. Lagos was in second place, 45%, $2.5 billion. Ogun State, 7.5 million, so do take note of that, 0.14%. Then we had Oyo and Kaduna. Now, Benue State has a lot of projects that they want to carry out, a number of factories that they want to build. They want to grow a number of jobs. And we're happy to have, returning to talk to us on the show, Dr. Raymond Asemakaha, who's a CFA, he's the Group Managing Director of the BIPC, the Benue Investment and Property Company. Doctor, it's great to have you again. Good to see you on the show. And I wanted, of course, for us to follow up on our last conversation. Remember, we talked a lot about the projects that you had, you know, the bakery, the salons, and so on and so forth. But let's start with food. Even though a bakery is food. The Benue being called the food basket of the nation, how are you at the BIPC and the government leveraging this to drive broader economic growth beyond subsistence farming in Benue?
Good morning. Yes, we have, under the leadership of His Excellency, the Executive Governor, we are driving. And if you look at the outlook, we are in the right space. Just recently, His Excellency subsidized fertilizer to the farmers so that they will be able to farm. And that's one of the things we are doing. We are also trying as much as possible to attract capital at the state level. One of the things we are doing, we were able to bring in Sono to come and partner with us. They have the capability and they have the technical aspect, and that's one of the things that we are doing to re-engineer and redirect the state economy as of today. You can see recently tractors were also launched in Benue State. Those are the deliberate effort that His Excellency is doing to mitigate and take our people back to farming, knowing the fact that Benue State is an agrarian state and we cannot do without agriculture.
Okay, fantastic. So we're looking at those tractors. Now, at the national level, the president said there were about 2,000 or so tractors that are going to be deployed across the country. I'm not sure how they're going to divvy that up, right? But with your tractors, you know, I think what Nigerians want to know is when will they be deployed? And when, you know, how soon would that operation take place? So we just saw videos of the tractors right now. So how soon is it going to happen before you get those tractors out to the farms?
Yes, immediately some of the, you know, before now, this is the second phase. There was also a depletion that was done before, and this is the second phase. And the previous one that was deployed, people have started farming. Because what we want to do, there was no commercialized farming in Benue, knowing the fact that we are full basket of the nation. But under the leadership of the executive governor, he has brought back farming as one of the best succumb for the people of Benue State. So you will begin to see that farmers, in fact, our produce this year is going to supersede the previous years. Those are the things that we are doing, knowing the fact that he has subsidized the fertilizer just most recently. So Benue outlook is changing, and you can see when we came in, we try as much as possible to do the market correction. After that is to stabilize. So we are at the stabilizing stage. Without market correction, you won't see what the executive governor is doing. So we were able and successful, able to, you know, to correct the market correction. And right now we're in the stabilizing state. Then we'll now begin to inform the stabilization accelerated growth. So those are the things that we are doing.
Okay, great. Now, look, I want to take a snapshot of Benue's economic metrics, keeping in mind that this government, executive government, has since came in 2023, right? So, you know, things are still, you only got to be in a couple of years in office. But So your internally generated revenue as of 2023, again, 2023 is just shy of 20 billion. Your FAC allocation is about 118. So it looks like Benue is still very dependent on FAC allocations, right, coming from the government. Your domestic debt as of September of 2024, according to the, I think the Debt Management Office, is about 115 billion. And then inflation, most recent, 23.7. I think headline inflation for Nigeria is at 20.12. And then your food inflation is 25. I think food inflation for Nigeria is about 23 or so. My question is this, with the plans that you have, all right, so I think, okay, I'm going to get our doctor back on the show. We lost communication with him. But for everyone that's watching right now, these are Benue's numbers. We're going to have to get updated numbers, of course, from the Bureau of Statistics and also from the Debt Management Office, because that debt number for domestic debt is as of September of 2024. So that's to be updated. And we don't have foreign debt in there, but I think Benue's foreign debt is pretty low. So the question, of course, with the tractors that you just saw, I think we can float those tractors at any time. And all the plans that the Benue State is putting together, well, how are they going to afford it? Are they borrowing more in order to purchase these tractors? We haven't heard of Benue issuing a bond in recent times. I don't know if that's part of what they plan to do. So our next question, of course, for the managing director of the BIPC is going to be how they plan on raising funding. All right, so we have him back. Doctor, sorry about that. It looks like we lost you for a moment there. So we put up some figures there. I mean, domestic debt for Benue is still about 115 billion. IGR is only 19 billion. FAC allocation is 118. So most of the money and funding you're getting is from FAC. How are you affording all this? Are you going to float a bond? Are you going to go to the capital markets? Are you going to... Where's the money for the initiatives to push all these things forward, like the tractors and so on?
All right, so we have carefully looked at those figures, and we look at those figures, and that's why we are driving this aggressive drive of investment. When we came in, we looked at it that receivable from the federal allocation and the debt service is within 25%. We understand that it's going to be very difficult for the state to break even. So we are carefully looking at the figure, and my office, in a couple of weeks or months, we will get a rating from Augustus, and we'll begin to float bond from the capital market. That's one of the things we are trying to drive. Because if we look at the receivable from the federal allocation and the debt service ratio is high, you know, people don't understand those figures. So we are trying as much as them. The only way to mitigate those things is to raise a bond from the capital market. Because even if you go to the commercial bank, interest is still very high, so the state cannot accommodate. And that's one of the things that we are looking at as quick win to drive the industrial revolution that we're driving in the States.
All right, great. Now,
and also to discourage the...
Go ahead, yes, completely. Go ahead, please.
No, I'm also saying that also to discourage the over-depending on federal allocations. You know, in the time past, there was serious level of dependence on the federal allocation. And that's why, you know, recently this administration launched what they call the Economic Development Plan for 10 years with 2.6 trillion. And we are trying as much as those are deliberate efforts that we have brought in place to ensure we mitigate and stop the over-depending on federal allocations.
Okay. Now, the last time we had you on the show, I mean, you talked about a bakery, and I just wanted to, follow up with you. Benue doesn't have wheat, does it? I don't believe wheat is one of your natural resources that you have there. So how's the bakery going? I mean, what's the update on that?
Yes, you see, we don't have a wheat, but we have cassava. Very soon we'll be unveiling the cassava flour that will turn and produce the bread. So the outlooks, the process is in the pipeline, and we are working towards achieving that. We will work with what we have. We don't necessarily need to depend on the suppliers of the wheat. Since we have cassava and we are the agrarian state, we will use our cassava to do the bread, do the flour for the bread.
Okay, all right. Is there a timeline as to when in what, first quarter of next year, or how is the timeline looking for the bakeries?
Yes, we have already have 3 branches already, and the flour processing will be the second quarter of next year.
Okay, fantastic. Now, so that's the bakery. Now you've also help me now. You've got an orange factory that you are planning. So what? Tell me. Let's talk about this orange factory now. And by orange factory, if anybody who's confused, I think you plan to make juice, right? Now, how is this going to work? Because I don't know whether you make, Benue has enough oranges, and what the raw material input is going to be. What is the plan with this orange factory? Why are you doing an orange factory?
Remember, we are full basket of the nation. We have the best orange in the world. We have the best mango in the world. And we have a lot of post-harvest losses. This time around, we want to, process our orange, have value proposition. And the only way to have value proposition is to process those orange. Remember that Nigeria import on concentrate is about 165 billion. And if we have our orange, why are we not doing the concentrate? That's a new factory set there. You can see those people. We want to commence as soon as possible to introduce our concentrate in the market, so that we'll be able to help supply within the state and the country. If Nigeria is importing 165 billion, according to Rural Research Development Council, 2024 alone, we did import 165 billion, and we have orange wasting. So we say this time around, we want to determine the price of orange in the country. We want to also determine the price and stop that concentrated importation. If we are able to just take out about 50% of it alone, it will add to the bottom line of the state, and by extension, the Nigeria, so that we will be able to stop the concentrate importation. That is the drive that we are driving those process.
Okay, there's also a Zeva, help us out, which one is the Zeva factory and the because are these all together, or that's another separate concentrate project? Which one is the Zeva one?
No, Zeva is the brewery factory that we have just in few months we'll be launching or unveiling the Zeva. It's a deliberate effort. In the time past, 80s and 90s, we used to have the brewery, but it was sold. So when we came in, we look at the data, we look at the figure, we look at the value proposition, and we feel we can be able to tap from the market. That is why we have quickly introduced that factory. We are within 95% completion, and that factory is going to employ not less than 1,000 workers there. Within the coming months. So those are the things that we are done. We are also going to use cassava beer. If you go to Zimbabwe, you see what they call the Impala beer. And here we have the Ziva beer. We will invite you personally so that you will come and have a taste of it. That is the people's choice.
It sounds good. I mean, I'm not a beer drinker myself, but I do drink juice. I like juice a lot, and so I would love to try your juice. But Dr. Asemakaha, my question to you is this, right? You're doing a lot of projects. You're doing this, and this is the state level. The state is doing a bakery. The state is doing an orange factory. The state is doing a brewery. We have private sector brewery players in Nigeria. We've got private bakeries. We've got juice makers. Isn't it worrying that the state is doing all this by itself, as opposed to just creating an enabling environment for these players that already do these things to just come into Benue and set up? What's your answer to that?
Creating an enabling environment, you need to have good roads. You need to have infrastructure development. You need to also have a policy framework. So when we came in, that is why Benue State, under the leadership of His Excellency, there's a lot of construction going on in Benue State, so that that's the part of the way to create the enabling environment. Without those roads, those people can't be able to come in to invest. And of course, we can't wait for them to come. So that's why we are doing those things. It's a deliberate attempt and deliberate effort. Some of them are already part of the partner. They are investors. There are people that are coming to work with us. But before then, the road accessibility to connect those farmers to the market or connect farmers to the buyers. Those are the things that His Excellency is doing. If you go to the rural area, road and connectivity is ongoing. If you come to the Makurdi metropolis, roads are going. The Benue have become a construction site because without those things, without the development, without the construction of those roads, without the infrastructure development, without policy frameworks, you can't have those people coming in. And that's why His Excellency is making deliberate attempt and effort to ensure that we have this thing done within these 4 to 8 years. Without that, this thing cannot be done. We have also started doing the SME policies, the housing policy, and a whole lot of policies and inclusivity. Those are the things that will make investors or partners come to the state. Before now, those things were not there. But we felt it is important. That's why we are driving and engineering and redirecting. Remember, I told you that there was a market fault. So we have just finished doing what the correcting market correction, then stabilizing it, then accelerated growth. Those are the things that we are putting in place to ensure that the state have it right. Before now, it wasn't like that. But connecting these routes, what we are driving and doing, we must drive the economy the way it is, and the truth need to be told. And currently, His Excellency is doing a whole lot of those road and connectivities and driving the process so that our people can have value proposition, so that investor can come. No investor can come to the state when there's no good access road. You know that.
Makes sense. So my final question is, roads are important. What about electricity? Your breweries and everything else that you want to run, all these factories you need, what is the plan to keep, what the electricity issues we have in Nigeria? Of course, there's the Electricity Act that has been passed, which is supposed to give states like yourself the power to regulate your electricity. What are your plans briefly as far as electricity to power all these projects before we go?
Yes, so you remember we have River Benue and River Niger. River Benue, we have a lot of water there. So it's something that we are trying to demonstrate the law. Is within the third reading. So I know that before this last quarter end, we should be able to demonstrate the law and begin to, on board. I remember I also said that we are going to start raising bond so that we can be able to get these investors possibly come to start. But most importantly, we want to start something. The beer that I'm doing a CO2 recovery. I'm trying to see if I can power it with solar and other. But most importantly, the law is in the third reading that we'll be able to demonstrate and, start our own generation, knowing the fact that we always have River Benue beside us. So we will make it to work for us.
All right. Dr. Raymond Asemakaha, the MD, Group Managing Director of the Benue Investment and Property Company. Thank you so much for joining us on Horizons. We appreciate your time and good luck. We'll follow up and see how things work out.